being sexy. So I'm going to start doing some videos while I'm driving, and for just discussions that I've had or questions that I've had from people. So we're going to start off with a gentleman that I'm going to call the Perfect Preston. So the Perfect Preston presented a problem for me of, not really a problem, but kind of inquisitively asked, if you're looking for a new significant other after a very long marriage, say 31 years, how do you find that person for you? And so my first thing is, you want to want someone and not need someone. So you want to make sure that all of your needs are being met and that you feel great. Look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The point of self-actualization is a great starting point, because you want to make sure that you've resolved any issues that may come up with the new relationship, or at least you've got a really good handle on them. Because if you had the dedication to stay in a marriage for 31 years and love each other, raise children, that is such a feat, and it is not a commonality today. And that is something where that in itself, even though you're now divorced, is a congratulations. You did it. You did a fantastic job. You shared a life with someone. And so kudos to you, and more congratulations to you for wanting to start a new life with someone else, because, it is big and scary, after you've been with one person for a long time. Now, this gentleman, I think he's got a head start on this whole adventure, because I'd also like to state that he has an older vehicle, not super old, but older, and he's been meticulously maintaining this vehicle, probably for 17 to 20 years. And so that's why I'm labeling him as the Perfect Preston, because if I say it all the time and people kind of laugh at me or look at me sideways, but if someone has the dedication to devote, oh geez, I'm paying tools. I did not want to go this way. If someone has the dedication to put that much time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into a vehicle, a house, a project, something like that, that is commendable as well. So if you have the dedication to become that involved with the vehicle and its maintenance, you definitely have what it takes to be that involved in the maintenance of a relationship. More specifically, your spouse or your significant other, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Why are these lights all flashing on me for being on this toll bridge? My husband Cat is going to be so annoyed with me. He's going to be like, you don't like paying for roads and you're paying for roads. And I'm like, well, I was multitasking and making a video for someone. So anyways, now that we're paying for our road, the second thing outside of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that I would recommend with making sure that you're at that self-actualization point, or that you're super duper close to it, would be to look up the 5 love languages. And the 5 love languages is just one of these theories, and I've read a lot of theories on psych and stuff like that. I love psychology, I love soft sciences, I love hearing everybody's little take on all these little problems that we have no concrete proof of what the solution is. We have possible solutions, we have possible hypotheses and things like that, and I love it. It's just fascinating. So anyways, 5 love languages. So you could have the best intentions possible in a relationship with someone, whether it's a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship, or it's a family relationship, parent, child, anything like that. If you're not speaking the same love language, or you don't understand their love language versus your love language, and you're treating them the way that you want to be treated as far as how you show love, then you're literally speaking different love languages, or you're speaking different languages. And so for me, that's a huge thing. I know me personally, I've taken the test throughout the years, and the ones where they give you two options, and most of the time, even when they're not supposed to give you two options, I always firmly get seated on acts of service and physical touch, which is ironic because I can't stand to be touched by anyone outside of my children and my significant other, and sometimes my parents, but not if I'm being emotional or stressed or anything like that, because if you touch me, I will crumble. But anyone else, I don't want to be touched. I don't like being touched, and so it's just really funny that that's my thing. And acts of service for me is a no-brainer, and that's because I have so many services that I do for others and so many tasks on my plate that anyone that takes some of that and helps and does it correctly, which is the key there, makes my life easier, and that is the easiest way to show your love and affection or gratitude for me, whether you're platonic or familiar or romantic. It makes me feel great. But other people do not have the same thing. Luckily, my husband and I share the same two love languages, ironically, which is really funny, because I don't have to worry about his love language, because if I do what I would want done for me love language wise, then he's happy because that's the language that he speaks. The other ones off the top of my head, because there's 5, so you have physical touch, you have acts of service, words of affirmation, gift giving, and quality time. And for me, some of those, I get them, I understand them, and it's not that I don't value them as much, it's just I feel like they're inclusive, where if somebody's doing an act of service, if you're helping me sort out the garage, then for me that's quality time. If I'm giving you verbal cookies, which are compliments, and that's words of affirmation, and so I feel like they all get involved together, but there's a priority level. So basically, if you take this little test and you find out that your love language is acts of service, no, let's not go with acts of service, let's go with a different one. You find out that your love language is gift giving. So you want to spend a bunch of money or get a bunch of gifts or whatever for your significant other. And if they were to take the test, theirs is words of affirmation. Well, if you're giving them tons of presents and you're all excited about it because you're like, ooh, I love presents and that makes me feel super loved, and they want you are the smartest, most beautiful, most wonderful, most intelligent, most skilled person I've ever seen, and I'm so impressed with you every single day, they're not going to feel like you love them. And so therefore, when they get your gifts, they're going to be frustrated that you're not giving them the words of affirmation. And then and on the flip side of this, and this is why it's very important, on the flip side is you're sitting there wanting presents because yours is gift giving and theirs is acts or words of affirmation. So they're saying, oh, you're so strong and you're so brilliant and you're so this and you're so that, and I fall more and more in love with you every day because of these skill sets. And they're just like, oh, I would love it if somebody would say these things to me. It would make me feel so happy. And you're like, where's my present? I want some new tools, or I want some chocolates, or I want that special jacket that I've been looking for. You guys are literally speaking separate languages. And so you're not going to feel fulfilled. They're not going to feel fulfilled. And you guys are going to end up eventually resenting each other to a certain extent, or poking each other to a certain extent, because you get grumpy, because you feel underappreciated and not as loved as you should be. So that's why the 5 love languages for me, I think, works really well. There's another one for like animals and stuff. I don't know. I've really just typically stuck on the 2 big things: Maslow's hierarchy of needs, 5 love languages, and trying to figure out, where you are on those 2 theories on psychological stuff. I think they're invaluable. I think they're fantastic. Year after year, I go back to them. I've talked to numerous people throughout the years, and I always end up giving the same advice when it comes to that stuff. The want versus need thing, I don't know if I read that somewhere. I don't know if I came up with that myself after my first divorce. What I did, because that was such a tough pill to swallow, because I really, really, really tried not to get to that point, and then it just got to the point where it was so broken and there were so many lines that were crossed or plowed over with a tank and just blown up that I had to get out of it. And so that was one of the hardest things. There's been a few hard things in my life, but that was one of the harder things in my life, was to admit that that I had failed to fix that. And so I, as a non-committed to any one person, after divorce papers were signed and we were waiting for the court to process it, I came up with a basic strategy, because I realized that when I did, if and when I did get back into the dating pool, that because I knew human emotions well enough that I knew that I would be in excess of emotions, and I don't like making decisions when I'm emotional, and I didn't want to get all wrapped up in somebody, because I didn't think that would end well if I was just making, you know, judgments on things solely based on emotions. So what I did was I wrote down a whole long list, and this video is going to end.